Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at the Coma 2 Vicious Sisters. The Coma 2 is a 2D survival horror game starring Mina Park, a student at Sour High, a normal teenage girl with fairly normal problems for a high school girl her age. After staying behind after class, Mina notices some strange goings on before being knocked out and wakes up in a twisted, otherworldly version of her town. Mina must figure out where she is and how to escape while trying to avoid the demoness trying to kill her. The Coma 2 is a pretty effective horror game. It takes a little while to get going, introducing Mina, her classmates, and her life in general. She's a grade A student, stressing about a B+ she got on a recent exam. She's dating one of the popular jocks, but is having trouble figuring out when and how to break up with him. It's a neat little build-up of normalcy before the incoming horror, even if the dialogue feels a little too much like adults trying to write teenagers rather than the characters speaking like actual teenagers. But once Mina wakes up in the nightmare world, the Coma 2 really starts to take off. Before the game has even introduced you to any of the enemies or dangers that you're going to need to run and hide from, it still felt like every step was fraught with danger. The art style in this game is absolutely gorgeous, even when it's depicting the grotesqueness of a twisted nightmare world, and it's coupled with some excellent sound design that made me feel constantly unnerved as I explored each of the game's levels. But despite feeling generally creeped out at all times, I needed to press forward to continue the game. It's not a feeling I'm unfamiliar with, fighting that feeling of dread at the back of my mind. I play a lot of horror games after all, and while I was never terrified during my time with the Coma 2, I was always at least a little on edge. You'll spend most of your time in the game wandering the corridors of a variety of locations throughout the town. Quests generally boil down to exploring the levels to find a way to escape, looking for various keys or other items that will let you pass through a locked door, for example. In the first level, this generally means following quest markers, but in later levels, you're given clues that you need to decipher to figure out where the items you need actually are. Hunting for the engineer's key to unlock a basement door, for example, sees you finding a note that offers hints as to where the last person to have the key may have gone. Instead of simply following quest markers to each of your objectives, you instead need to use your map to deduce where you need to go next. While I was never faced with a particularly challenging riddle, I appreciated that the Coma 2 didn't simply lead me around by the nose, instead letting me work out where I needed to go. Exploring their environment fully also serves another crucial purpose, however. Each level beyond the first sees you needing to craft a special item of some kind to avoid being injured during your escape to the next. During transitions between areas, you'll be attacked, and if you don't have this special item, you'll permanently lose a portion of your health bar. It's an interesting mechanic that pushes you to fully explore each of the levels you find yourself in, though it's not explained until after the first time it happens, which is a little annoying. Though it did make for an effective lesson in not rushing my exploration. And rushing is something you'll feel compelled to do, as you're almost constantly stalked by the twisted demonic form of Miss Song, one of Mina's teachers, throughout your journey. And the game always makes sure you know it too. Miss Song's presence takes the Coma 2's exploration of its nightmarish world from unnerving to tense. Thanks to its impeccable sound design, you can hear Miss Song searching for you constantly. In the distance, doors bang, floors creak, glass shatters, and once you hear the telltale clicking of high heels heading towards you, you'll need to find the nearest hiding place and wait for it to pass. If you see her, she's already seen you, and you'll need to run, dodge, and hide. Hell, sometimes you might just be unfortunate enough to simply bump into her as you get to the bottom of some stairs. But I love the constant unease of being stalked, a sentence where context is important. Getting caught and having to run is the only part of the Coma 2 I'm not a fan of. You sprint full speed with Miss Song always close behind, and you need to find one of the game's designated hiding spots. Once you do, Miss Song will search for you, and you'll need to pass QTEs to make sure you keep your breathing steady so as not to get caught, the length and difficulty of which are determined by how bad a hiding place you've chosen. Hiding in a cupboard, for example, is a much better idea than hiding under a desk, although sometimes you won't have much of a choice. My issue with this portion of the game is twofold. First, the act of hiding itself is hurt by some fiddly controls. To go through a door or enter a hiding place, you need to hold the button rather than simply push it. And the QTEs go by really fast and require some fairly quick reflexes to pass. Both of these design choices are designed to make avoiding Miss Song perilous and frightening, but instead they feel cheap. Every time I died in the Coma 2, it was because a QTE went by too quickly, or it took too long for Mina to crawl under a bed. But these sections of the game are fairly minor, and despite them, the Coma 2 is still an enjoyable horror experience. The art style is lovely, the sound design is fantastic, and both do an excellent job of crafting an effective atmosphere that will leave you on edge as you explore and fight for survival. The best survival horror games are the ones where you're constantly uneasy about making forward progress, and the Coma 2 mostly achieves this. If you're in the mood for a solid horror game, this is one I can definitely recommend. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, consider sticking around here at Words About Games. Our content includes review impressions of games big and small, a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing the happenings in and around the games industry, weekly opinion videos, reactions, debate-driven top 5 and top 10 lists, a regular Hall of Fame series where we discuss our favourite games, and indie game spotlights. We also stream every Friday and Saturday at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Most importantly, have a brilliant day.